Below are the crises you're basically guaranteed to run into at some point in life. Identity crisis. This is when you don't really know who you are, what you exist for, what you're living for, whether you want to become a rapper or an influencer in the future. This phase usually happens when we're still young, around 13 to 17 years old. Some obvious signs can look like trying a new hairstyle, a mullet, freestyle hair, or copying the way you dress from those six-pack dudes on social media. Or maybe trying anime to become a weeb and then actually becoming a weeb. Quarter-life crisis. This is when you basically have nothing in your hands. College debt is still sitting there, you don't have a lover, and somehow your best friend already has one. Damn, that's annoying as hell. At that point, you start feeling like you're falling behind your generation, not knowing if this career actually fits you, not knowing whether you're on the right path or just walking down a path you picked back when you didn't understand life. Then you start job hopping harder than the renegade trend. Yeah, I'm going through this phase too, so I get it. It's that feeling where you always wish there was a button to reset your whole life, or reincarnate back to when you were 16 so you could choose everything again from the start. Competence crisis. This crisis usually starts when you've been doing a job for a while and begin to feel like you're stuck. It happens a lot in office environments, when you're no longer the newbie, but you're also not exactly sure if you're actually good. The fear that you're falling behind makes you avoid challenges, or sometimes study way too hard because you're scared you can't keep up with everyone else. The most typical example of this is when you see a new employee who just joined, but what they show is way better than what you were capable of when you first started, and you begin thinking that you're already slow. Welp, the social comparison crisis. Not surprising at all. Honestly, I probably should have put this at the beginning of the video. The name alone already tells you everything, right? But the full version of this crisis is the feeling of envy, shame, and feeling like you're inferior to some influencer who is flexing a fake life online, while in reality, they might be broke as hell and you just don't know it. This type of crisis isn't new, but it went viral ever since the internet developed, because now you're not just comparing yourself to your neighbor the way your parents used to compare you. You're comparing yourself to the entire world. Existential crisis. The simplest example of this is when your job is robbing people, but then you become enlightened. And this is not what you want, so you start feeling tormented. Or when you're studying, but you don't understand what field you're even in, and whether you actually want to keep going with it in the future. At that point, you get eaten up by the gap between reality and your inner values. This is the kind of crisis that doesn't just ask, "What am I doing?" but goes deeper and asks, "Do I actually believe in what I'm doing?" Sixth is the family role crisis. Why didn't they just call this the Asian crisis? People like this usually keep thinking about whether they should go all out, live their life fully because they only get one life, or become a good child and repay their parents. They carry responsibilities and often hide from their parents that, "Mom, Dad, actually, I'm a content creator." This is the kind of crisis where you have to choose between personal desire and family expectations. The hard part about this crisis is that neither side is completely wrong. Burnout crisis. Do they want me to melt before the deadline, or are they testing whether my caffeine machine still works? But usually, burnout makes us horribly stagnant and can even lead to suddenly quitting a job. It also creates a very strange state, quitting out of nowhere and healing while your messages are blowing up. This state can be called not giving a damn about life, or sitting in the office and thinking, "I'm cooked." Eighth is the aging crisis. This is when you'll have one sentence in your head: "I can't catch TikTok trends like I used to anymore." You start becoming aware of time, and the gap between you and entertainment starts getting clearer and clearer. You start needing to be conscious of the future, but you still want to keep playing. It's a very bitter feeling, because in your head, you still think you're young, but your body, responsibilities, and the algorithm start betraying you. A new trend appears, you look at it and don't understand why it's funny. A new slang word appears, and you have to look up what it means. A song goes viral, you listen to it and only hear noise. And that's when you realize, oh, so I'm slowly becoming the person who used to criticize me when I was younger. Ninth is the generativity crisis. This is when you realize that you are a being who cannot exist for very long, so you're always in a state of feeling like you have to do something so your descendants can see it and feel proud that their grandparents actually did something. They're scared that their greatest skill is just posting a story and then deleting it before anyone sees it. And usually, they overthink, but that overthinking makes them stagnant, and then a loop begins until you step into the aging crisis. 10th is the independence crisis. You want to decide your own life, but family, money, and social expectations are still pulling you back. Maybe it's arguing with your lover, hiding your plans, wanting to move out, wanting to prove that you're grown now. At this point, you feel rebellious, guilty, and confused between freedom and safety. You no longer want anyone to make decisions for you, but at the same time, you're not exactly sure you have enough money, enough courage, or enough stability to fully step out. This is part 1 of the 10 crises most of you will run into in life. This series still has a lot more coming, so if you want me to look into more, let me know in the comments. Paw signing out. Stay sharp, stay weird.